Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. Today is Saturday, March the 26th, 2022. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach, and I'm riding today without Dirk, my wingman here. We're going to have Dirk back in business tomorrow, but I have my real wingman, I'm trying to say, Josh Crash Davis. Crash, how are you on this nice Saturday?
I'm doing good. It's good to be back on the familiar side of the camera now. So,
yeah, you did a fantastic job yesterday. Thank you for putting up with me. For those that didn't see it, I was driving the whole time, so that was a real experiment in podcasting. But I think we got the message through. We had another big prize picks night as usual, and that was cool. But today we're going to go over this 7-game slate. We're doing the main slate. We know that there's 8 games on there, but that one's just a standalone. So we're going to go through those, talk about the DFS aspect of those games, and then we will dive into a secondary podcast for our prize picks plays of the day. I will remind you, though, today is build the 2 brains are better than 1 FanDuel lineup. Did you remember that, Crash?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, I did. Yeah, you can't get one past Crash. No way. No way. All right, so we're going to dive into this and get it rolling. I'd like to thank our presenting sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com. Sign up with the promo code CoachTalk, all one word, no space, and you get up to $100 free match on that first deposit. Put that promo code in. If, let's say you open it for $50, boom, Prize Picks puts 50 in there. And I'll tell you, if you would have done that 8 days ago when we started our crazy streak here and we're keeping it going, I knock on wood every day. I have several places to knock, and we want to keep that going for you. So what I found too, Josh, I wanted to share this at the start of the show. I had 3 or 4 members and a couple of people on Twitter respond and saying, you know, they've listened to our DFS show and they listen to the Prize Picks show, and it's helping them build not just good lineups for DFS, but it's also helping them narrow down their Prize Picks plays. So it seems like that mixture is really working for our listeners. So let's keep that going.
Let's definitely do that. I mean, we've been killing it. You know, we've been killing it this last week and a half, and we had one of our members. It's Mike, baby. He had a huge night last night. So
he sure did.
Shout out to him.
Yeah, it's Mikey, it's Money Baby. He should change his name too.
Right.
All right, man. Let's dive in. No playing around. We got to get these up for everybody to check out. The first game at 7:00 on this 7-game main slate is the Sacramento Kings at the Orlando Magic. Orlando is favored by 2, and it's a 223.5 total. So 2 interesting teams that we've had a lot of experiences with lately. Sacramento, as far as injuries, they have Davis, Fox, and Sabonis. So Fox and Sabonis out again for Sacramento. And then the shooting guard, rookie Jalen Suggs, also out. So some key guys out, but they have been out now. I believe they're shutting Fox and Sabonis down for this last group of games. We may not see them again.
Yeah.
So let's take a look here. We're going to go right into it here. Decent total, 223.5, and the game's supposed to stay close. I guess when I throw it over to you, Josh, is it Davion Mitchell day? Like now that Fox is gone, it seems like he has completely taken over this team.
Yeah, Davion Mitchell for sure for me, 5,900 on FanDuel, 6,000 on DK. Orlando's allowed the 8th most fantasy points to point guards. While Fox has been out, he's been heavily relied on. He's played 37, 46, and 35 minutes in those last 3 games. He scored 30-plus DK points in 3 of his last 4. So definitely getting the minutes and the production that you would expect while De'Aaron Fox is out.
I agree. Anybody else on that Kings side that you're considering?
On the Kings side, not so much. I like some of the value here for Orlando. Sacramento's allowed the most fantasy points to shooting guard, so I like RJ Hampton a little bit, actually. He's been getting similar minutes to Franz Wagner and Markelle Fultz, but he's actually been putting up better numbers in both, better numbers in Fultz and similar numbers to Wagner. And then Sacramento also allows the second most fantasy points to centers. So you could look at either Bamba or Carter here. I think they're both an option for the Magic.
And then what about Damian Jones? Do you feel he'll get the majority of those minutes at center?
Yeah, he probably will. I think you could look at probably him or Metu. I think they're probably both an option here.
Yeah.
Metu's a little bit cheaper, so it just depends on your build. But yeah, I mean, they're both, it's not a huge slate, so they're both in play, I think.
Yeah. And for me, I'm with you here. I like the value in this game. The total's fair. Cole Anthony's up to 7-1, so I doubt that I'm going to go there. I mean, he's just can be boom or bust for you. But Davion Mitchell at that 6K on DraftKings and 5.9 on FanDuel definitely will be a little chalky. Everybody's feeling comfortable going to him, and we know Orlando doesn't defend well.
Right.
I still think Harrison Barnes is priced pretty low at 6K. I think you can even consider Trey Lyles and Damian Jones. I've always been a Damian Jones guy. He's 4-4. But Metu did play a terrific game last time at a flat 4K. So, I get concerned when minutes get split. That's my big thing. So I'm looking at some of this Sacramento value and may go there depending on my build. But probably the first one would be Mitchell. On the other side, I get it with RJ Hampton. I like him as a player. He's 4-2. And certainly has been the guy that has really taken advantage of Suggs being out. But I don't know if I'm going to push that button just because they do have some depth at guard, with Fultz and Harris and Ross specifically. Right. I'm just a little concerned of that rotation. So I'm shying away there because there is some other value, and we know value opens up during the day. So. Sure. And then I'll tell you the guy, though, that stands out to me, but the problem is the price, is Wendell Carter Jr. has now really been a consistent producer for us and for this last month, but he's 8.5 now.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I remember when he was 5'8". It wasn't, it's crazy how much he's gone up the ladder. Now he's recently been in the 7s, but 8.1, that's a big chunk to bite off.
Yeah, I agree.
So 8.5, we'll see. But other than that, though, I'm not crazy about the Orlando side. They're just, again, they're playing a lot of guys. Okiki's getting minutes. Mo Wagner's getting minutes. I don't want to, have that rotation with two teams that are out of it really sink me. So I'm not going to be super heavy on this first game. Just grab a little value and move on.
All right.
All right, man. We go to the 7:30 game. Indiana Pacers, Toronto Raptors. And we have a 10.5 point favoritism for Toronto. Indiana's been getting waxed a little bit lately. We've got a 118.5 implied for Toronto, 108 for the Pacers. As far as injuries in this game, Gary Trent is an important one to know, but he's questionable. So we need that news. We know Malachi Flynn is out. Also need two pieces of news, just like we did the last game. Goga Bitadze and Jalen Smith both listed as questionable, and that changes the entire rotation in the middle. So we do know that Duarte, Jackson, McConnell, and Turner are out. So that's going to be everything, man. We have to have that news in order to know what the scoop is there. How are you looking at this game, considering we don't know with Bitadze and Smith?
Yeah, we definitely need that news. I don't really like that rotation. It's been really hard to figure out, which guy to play on which day. Some days it's Jalen Smith. Some days it's Isaiah Jackson. Some days it's Goga Bitadze. And
Terry Taylor's in the mix now.
Terry Taylor's in the mix, yeah.
But Isaiah Jackson is out.
So okay, Jackson's out. Okay, so that makes it a little bit clearer. But yeah, I've just had bad luck trying to guess between those guys like Smith and Batadze and Brissett is another one that I've had trouble.
Justin Anderson too.
And Justin Anderson. Yeah, so that
What a
whole
headache.
mix of guys against Toronto, who's been pretty good against most positions defensively in fantasy points allowed. So the play that I do like, and this is mainly on FanDuel where he's a little bit cheaper. He's 7,800 on FanDuel, 8,700 on DraftKings. Indiana's allowed the fourth most fantasy points to point guards, so I like Fred VanVleet a little bit here. But that's really probably about it for me. Maybe Pascal Siakam, but I don't really like this game in general.
What about Brogdon? What's your feel on Brogdon?
You could go to Brogdon. I did see that Toronto, I think they've allowed the second fewest fantasy points to point guards, so that's one thing that kind of kept me off of him.
Okay, no, that's a good call. And, you just wonder with all of these, he's in, he's out, he's questionable. I mean, it's been very bizarre. So it makes it a little bit difficult to figure. Halliburton's just too highly priced. I'm with you there.
Yeah.
And Hield's price is way up there too. They really handed it to those Pacers.
Right.
So for me on the Pacers side, Crash, it's going to be, I want the news because if either Smith or Batadze is out, I'm going to play the other one all day. Because I think either Batadze or Smith, if one of them's out, will get mid-30s minutes, and that would smash at their prices.
Right.
So that's a key factor. If they're both out, then it's going to be O'Shea Brissett day for me and Terry Taylor. Okay. Or if they're both in, then I might be back to square one and not go with anybody. So that's how important that news is for me on that game.
Okay.
I'm not chasing Justin Anderson at 4K, though. I know he's the darling the last couple of slates, and I know he paid off, but I don't trust it.
Yeah.
I fear traps too much, and generally when we talk about traps, it happens,
Yeah, it does. It definitely does. I know Dwight Powell, we talked about him yesterday. I don't think he had that big of a game. So
no, he did not.
That was a good call.
That happens a lot. Oh, thanks.
Yeah. I know Boucher's been playing, better of late. Do you like him here at all? Or
yeah, I actually was going to mention him at 5'2". He's such a huge points per minute guy. Even if you don't have to sweat it if he only gets 25 minutes, but you need him to get 25, and he's been getting it. So he's in play for me. I was actually thinking of rolling out Fred VanVleet today. I know Brogdon's a good defender, and that scares me a bit. But Toronto needs to win some games to get their position straightened out.
Right.
And he's due for one of his games where he's scoring, and Pacers have been giving up buckets of points lately. So if Trent sits, he's the one that was questionable, correct? Let me see.
I believe so.
Yes. If Trent sits, then VanVleet's going to make my lineup for sure, because those extra shots and three balls definitely, I think, I hope Trent sits because I'll probably go VanVleet and Boucher.
Yeah.
All right, dude, let's go to the 8 o'clock session. We've got 1, 2, 3 games at 8, a 9, and a 10. So we have 3 8 o'clock games. The first one is the Brooklyn Nets and Miami Heat. This should be an interesting game. So it's a big total for a Heat game. Brooklyn's favored by 3.5, and it's a 230. I don't know if I've seen 230 total for a Heat game.
That's a lot. Yeah.
116.75 implied for Brooklyn, 113.25 for the Heat. So interesting here. We've got injury-wise, it looks like we've got Brooklyn has Curry and Dragic probable. So Dragic wants to play. I mean, this is his squad. Talk about a narrative here. So you've got Curry and Dragic, I'm counting in. Aldridge and Simmons out. For Miami, it's Hero, Oladipo, and Vincent out. It looks like all the other guys are in, but having Hero out and Oladipo and Vincent certainly shortens the guard rotation big time. So this should be a fun game. And, we actually can play some guys here and not be worried about a super low score, according to Vegas. What do you think?
Yeah, I've got a few guys here that I like. With this being a road game, you got to look at Kyrie Irving. I mean, the way he's been playing, 63, 87, 42, and 69 DraftKings points his last 4 games.
Good Lord.
Just been absolutely killing it. So he doesn't play a lot, but, because of the whole COVID situation, which that's about to change. So for now, I think we got to take advantage of Kyrie in these road games. Miami is a good defensive team, though, so that scares me a little bit. They've allowed the fewest fantasy points to point guards, so that's definitely something you want to keep in mind. I do like Kyle Lowry on the other side here. 6,600 on FanDuel, 6,800 on DraftKings. Brooklyn's allowed the 7th most fantasy points to point guards, so I think that Lowry's a decent play at his price. With Hero out, I definitely think you could look at Jimmy Butler. He's 8,000 on FanDuel, 8,400 on DraftKings. He had 55 DraftKings points against the Nets the first time this year, but he only had 23 the last time they played them. So I'd have to see exactly what happened. That they changed defensively or whatever it was that they did to help them,
And that was that Bam, you said? Bam?
That was Jimmy Butler.
Oh, Butler. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So he had 55 DK points in that first game and then only 23. So I'm saying they had to do something defensively to make him that much less successful. Bam Adebayo, I know that, last night we kind of thought he was going to be in a great spot and smash and everything. He let people down. I think you can go back to him here. He had 56.3 DK points against the Nets last time he played them on March 3rd. So it hasn't been that long ago either. So I do like him. And I think that with Kevin Durant, I think that they're going to guard him kind of like they do with Giannis. I mean, they've held him below 50 in both games this year. So I think KD is a fade for me.
Yeah. This is going to really surprise you. But even with that total and all these great players, all the narratives, I am going to pass this game. And I have a lot of reasons why. I'll share a few of them.
Okay.
Here's my reasons. Kyrie's been hot. This is Miami. In Miami, Miami's motivated. They're taking a lot of heat from all that blow up internally.
Right.
Kyrie's going to give some minutes up to Dragic. I mean, there's no doubt Nash is going to let Dragic get some decent minutes because this is his old team in Miami where he played forever. They'll probably do a little Dragic, tape, thing on the big board before the game. So you've got that whole dynamic. And then, Lowry gets serious defensively when he's facing, big time players like that. So I'm not saying Kyrie's going to get shut down, don't go bonkers here, but I don't think for that price, it's going to be worth it. And Dragic, I'm not buying into that. I am buying into the narrative. I just don't think he gets enough minutes to really hammer that away. Curry's back, but again, it's going to be Curry and Duncan Robinson exchanging a few threes, but both guys can play a little defense. They're not as bad as you think. I agree with you on KD. They're going to find a way between Butler, Tucker, and Adebayo, which should be known as the defensive Bermuda's Triangle, really, those 3 guys. They'll find a way to at least, I think, keep him under 50 fantasy points.
Yeah.
And, again, I need more than that for these kind of prices.
Right.
And then the Miami side, Bruce Brown is part of the reason that Butler took a little bit of a step back. He does a good matchup for Butler. And I think can cause him a little bit of trouble. And then, the guy that I was thinking about was Bam, but, back to back, we've got a new dog seeing the mailman. How about that?
Maybe you should play Bam. Maybe that's a sign you're supposed to play Bam tonight. I don't know.
Or is that the dog? The dog play of the night is Bam, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought about Bam, and I think Drummond could get in foul trouble because he's really, he's good in the paint, but on the exterior, he can't guard him outside. Bam should get that mid-range jumper all day. So that would be the only guy I would go to, but not 100% sure. But really, it's either pass game for me or Bam.
Okay. I like it.
All right, let's go on to the the second 8 o'clock game, we have Chicago and Cleveland. Chicago and Cleveland. Let's see where this line sits now. It is Cleveland -1. So a barn burner here, 222.5, low total, 110.75 for the Bulls, 111.75 for Cleveland. Every Cleveland game has a lower total. They're just a lockdown. Injuries, looks like Caruso and DeRozan are going to play. They're probable. Lonzo Ball remains out. We know that Allen, Rondo, and Wade remain out for Cleveland. So it's the two teams that have been taking the court for these guys the last several games. We know that these two are battling for position. They're one game separated in the standings. So a lot on the line here. And Cleveland's fans, they've been selling out, getting pumped. I think you're going to see similar type of playoff atmosphere that we've seen in the past with this game, which generally means a little bit tougher defense, a little bit tighter played. So what's your initial feel on this game? Is this one you're going to avoid a little bit because of the defense?
I was going to say, I think this can be one of those games that we enjoy watching, but as far as participating with it in DFS, not so much. I do like Lauri Markkanen. Yes, it's a revenge game, but he did have 43 DraftKings points last time he played against the Bulls. And it's, the 5th most fantasy points allowed to power forwards by Chicago. So it's a good matchup for him. He's below 6K on FanDuel, so I like that price. DeRozan's really tempting me below 8K. I feel like it's been probably 3 months since he's been that low.
How much is he on FanDuel?
He's 7,900.
Okay, he's 8,900 on DraftKings. So there's that $1,000 swing.
$1,000 difference there. And the same thing with me for Vucevic. He's 7,100 on FanDuel and 84 on DraftKings.
Wow.
So both Vucevic and DeRozan I like on the Chicago side, and then Markkanen on the Cleveland side. And Levine a little bit too. I like Levine a little bit too here, 77 on FanDuel.
Yeah, and he's 85 on DraftKings. So Cleveland just getting killed on DraftKings pricing and bonus babies on FanDuel. So it changes your builds, no doubt. Question I have for you. Kevin Love started the last game, and I have him projected as starting today. Did you have a feel on that?
I did not. So are you saying that Markkanen's not going to start, or is
no?
Okay.
Here's what I have projected. They had been starting both Okoro and Lamar Stevens, and those two are great defenders.
Right.
But when you give up all that offense, they were stalling a little bit and not scoring as much. So he finally realized, listen, I can't play these two guys that can't score at all at the same time to start. So I think he made a good move. I was shocked, though. I thought it would be LeVert and then bump Markkanen to the 4 and Mobley at the 5. But he won't start with LeVert for some reason. It looks like it's going to be Garland, Okoro, Markkanen, Love, and Mobley. So, if that's the case, that changes the dynamic here. And it does make it very difficult for the Bulls because they play DeRozan at the 4. So having to match up with basically 3 centers, if you will, and Markkanen, Love, and Mobley, I mean, they can all play center. You now have to guard them with very undersized Javonte Green, undersized DeMar DeRozan, and defensive struggles, Nikola Vucevic. So that makes me really think that this is a key spot on this slate. I think I want to go with a combination, and I like to spread it around. I don't like to double or triple play, but I just think that Cleveland is going to have a field day inside. And it just makes sense to me, especially with the fact that with Caruso back, they've really improved their perimeter defense. Not that you're going to hold Garland down, but he's mega expensive over that 10K mark now. And I think that they'll just try to take advantage of the size opportunity inside. Because even coming off the bench for the Bulls, if they bring Dosunmu in or Patrick Williams, undersized. Tristan Thompson's not the biggest guy in the world, although he's a center. He can at least hang with those guys. But I like a combination. I haven't decided which two yet, but if you want to, they will be on my lineup in Discord if you want to join us there. And I'll mention it now, dfscoachtalk.com. You can sign up there for as little as a 3-day pass for $10. Check us out. We give out full lineups on FanDuel and Yahoo, a coach's clipboard on Draftkings, so you're going to get a core group. And that's where I'm going to decide. I'm going to start 2 of 3 of Markkanen, Love, and Mobley. 6'4", 6'5", and yes, Mobley's 8'1", but that's not that bad considering.
No.
And I just think that that's a good point of focus on that side. And then following up on the other side, here's what I'm thinking. DeMar DeRozan, FanDuel 7-9, gotta have him. Just can't go against DeRozan here because it does help him get free for some of those penetration shots and then his specialty, the mid-range jumper. And he can make a 3 or 2 anymore. He can make a couple. And with, Markkanen or Love having to guard him, he's going to get some of those shots. So this could be the game of the night for me. And I don't think it's going to be for most people because I think they're going to take the exact thing that you said initially. Great game to watch, maybe not a great DFS play. This one is a little sneaky to me. I'm going to go after it with probably 3 guys from this game, and that will make my entire lineup very contrarian and hopefully in takedown mode.
I like it.
It's a different one. I surprised you on that one, I bet.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. All right, we have 2 games left, a 9 o'clock and a 10 o'clock, correct? I didn't miss it. Oh, I missed your Bucks. Never mind.
Oh, no.
I'm just kidding. I did that on purpose. It's Milwaukee at Memphis. Memphis by 1.5, another great one. 233.5 super total. My magic number, both implied totals over 115. That holds true still. It always pans out. Have exposure to those games. Bucks 116 implied. Memphis 117.5. So probably the game of the night to watch for me.
Right.
Interesting here. Giannis questionable. So you are the Bucks whisperer here. So is Giannis going to play? Let's just ask that right off the schneid here.
I don't know. I think he will, but I'm definitely not confident in that. I think Bud's been holding him out lately, and Milwaukee is now a half game behind Miami for that first seed, so they're getting closer to that. So it's really going to come down to, do they really want to play for the 1 seed, or are they going to be comfortable in the 2 or 3 or something like that?
Right. So, interesting. Yeah. So you can't shoot a text over to Giannis and he'll reply. Obviously that has everything to do with this game. Because other than that, Middleton's probable, but Drew Holiday out.
Yep.
So that's huge. That's what makes me think. I gotta think they will play Giannis, but I could be dead wrong. I have no idea. And then for Memphis, Clark, Ja Morant, and Tilly are out. And unfortunately, it's bad news for Milwaukee that Ja's out because they don't lose without him. It seems like.
I know.
It's crazy. So we could be without Ja and Giannis here. It's possible. So I mean, everybody's going to be putting George Hill in there like he's the greatest player since Jordan and LeBron. But I don't know, dude. What are you thinking about here?
I actually like Javon Carter more than George Hill in this game.
I do too. I am glad that you said that.
He's really been shooting the 3 well, and I think he's a little bit cheaper. They might be about the same price, but my gut says that, like you said, everyone's going to rush to George Hill, and Carter's just been better point guard this year. So definitely. He really has. He's been awesome defensively too. So which leads me to this next point. I kind of lean towards DeAnthony Melton here a little bit more than Tyus Jones.
Wow.
Tyus Jones will definitely get a lot of ownership, I think, with Drew Holiday out. But Carter has been just as good, if not better, defensively. So I think Carter is going to get a lot of minutes in this game. Middleton, he's one of the top plays for me on the slate if Giannis is out, obviously. 7,700 on FanDuel. He's 8,700 on DraftKings. I don't like that price.
Right.
He had 48 DraftKings points last time he played against Memphis, so he has had a good, performance against them, even with Giannis and Holiday out there. So definitely want to play him. And I think a lot of people are going to go to Grayson Allen because he's playing up, against Memphis, back in Memphis. I like Pat Connaughton. He's got more overall game. He's not just a three-point shooter like you have with Allen and Wesley Matthews. So I like Connaughton here over Allen and Matthews.
Wow. What about on the Memphis side?
On the Memphis side, I like Melton. You can play Tyus Jones. I'm not saying I'm going to fade him. I just like Melton more than Jones here, strictly for ownership mainly. And then Jaren Jackson's had some good games against Milwaukee, so I like him a little bit. But with Brook Lopez, it's kind of buyer beware because that interior defense is much better when he's down there.
Well, I'm shocked at all of those comments. We do these all the time together. I would have never picked those guys for who you would have recommended here. That's a really cool take. It makes perfect sense. And I think it'll be very contrarian. So I really think those are some interesting points. For me, there's a couple of things here. If Giannis sits, Middleton's going to be my top play, 100% everything, cash, GPP, single entry. I just think Middleton has to show up. With Holiday and Giannis, he'll play basically point guard. He'll take a ton of shots. I mean, I hope Giannis sits because I would love to just plug Middleton in and feel great about it. I don't care what his price is, really.
Right.
After that, I'm torn. I like Carter a little better than Hill, but I'm afraid that it's going to make me not want to play either one of them because I think they'll share some duties there. I know Brooks playing better, but, you still have Portis in the mix, so it makes me a little, wary there. But again, that's only if Giannis sits. If Giannis plays, it changes everything. Then, you flip it, and then Giannis becomes the better play because I don't think they play him on restricted minutes. He's sort of seems like when they decide he's going to play, he's just going to play.
Yeah,
if it stays close, he's going to play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I don't think he has that kind of motor where they can say, okay, Giannis, we're going to play this much time. Of course, when it gets out of control, they take him out. But, so if he's in, I'm counting him in like 100%.
Yeah. If he plays, I'm playing him, period.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's either him or Middleton will be one of my main pay-up guys today. On the other side of the ball, it's interesting. I'll ask you a question here, and it's going to be pretty easy answers. Who is the number one team in the NBA with the starting lineup, defensive efficiency-wise, for the season with the starting lineup, Jones, Bain, Brooks, Jackson, and Adams?
Memphis.
Number one in the league. Last 2 months, number one in the league. So this isn't just something that there's not been many games. We're talking 20 games, a third of the season that's been played, whatever the case is. My math is bad, but they are the real deal defensively. So I don't want to load up on a lot of shots. Like I think people, when they see a guy like Giannis sit out, they think, okay, let me get cute. I'm going to take an Allen or a Hill or a Carter or a Lopez or a Portis. I just don't think there's going to be enough free DFS points because of that stellar defense that it's not a small sample size. It's a respectable sample size for this group of 5 starters. So for me, it's going to be the one shot, either Middleton or Giannis. And then on the Memphis side, I still think Tyus Jones, I know he disappointed last time, but I still think he's the man. And the fact that he doesn't have to get guarded by Drew Holiday makes him even a better play for me. So I'm still on the Tyus bandwagon. I'm going to continue to ride it. I think he'll have a bounce back game from there, and really don't like anybody else on the Memphis side.
Okay.
All right, let's go to the 9:00 game. It is the Oklahoma City Thunder, Denver Nuggets. This game with Oklahoma City is a tough one to figure. They are certainly keep you guessing. It's Denver by a big fat 15. So High elevation game in Denver. They have the biggest implied total by a lot, 122.25 for Denver, only 107.25 for the Thunder. All kinds of issues here. What the heck's going to happen? I don't care what anybody says. I'll argue with you all day. You do have to game script certain blowouts, because if I'm spending 12K on Joker and I can't get more than, whatever, 27 minutes, I'm not going to be a happy camper. And I think you got to either sell out and say, okay, I'm going to say it's a blowout, I'm going to sit him, or I think OKC keeps it straight, close, and I'm going to play him. I don't know why touts don't want to ever say that. They'll always say, you can't predict blowouts. You can't. I get that. Sometimes it flips, but that's not my point. My point is take a stand. Either you think it stays close enough or you don't. And if that doesn't affect who you play, then I'm not sure I don't think you're doing this the correct way. So that's just the way I look at it. So the big thing with Oklahoma City that makes them so agitating is SGA, that you never know if they're going to play him or sit him. He's questionable again. It changes everything with Oklahoma City. And it seems like they're always like toward the ends of the slate lately. And it just screws everything up. And it's so frustrating because they've given up, but SGA can smash a slate. So it's so frustrating there. But Favors and Kenrich Williams are also questionable. Then you have Josh Giddey, doubtful, but I'm counting him out, and JRE is out. So, the two of the bigs in Favors and Williams definitely changes everything with Baisley and Roby and Sarr and everything if they play. SGA, I mean, if SGA sits, Trey Mann's been terrific lately. If SGA plays, then you can't play Mann because his prices come up. So, again, I'm going to have no definitive decision there. Denver, they have Zeke Naji and Porter. You know who Michael Porter Jr. is questionable.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Can you believe that? So Naji and Porter are questionable. I don't expect Porter quite to play yet, but he may. If he does, it's going to be like 10, 12 minutes. So don't play him, but it's important to know because it's going to change the face of things. I'll tell you what, if Denver can survive here, they're 12 games over 500. They get a healthy Porter back and a healthy Murray back, they're gonna make some noise in the playoffs.
For sure.
Definitely. So other than that, Naji and Porter questionable, Kanchar and Murray still out. So this game takes the turn of do you play it or not because of the blowout with that big fat spread. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, when SGA played, they played each other on March 2nd, and SGA played in that game, and Oklahoma City won that game, and that was in Denver, which is crazy to me.
Yep.
So if SGA plays, then I'll probably look at, the Joker here. Oklahoma City's allowed the fourth most fantasy points to centers. If he sits, I think DeMarcus Cousins could be in play. I think that Bones Highland is also in play. And then on the Oklahoma City side, Isaiah Roby has, he had 51 DraftKings points last time they played Denver. Crazy. They've allowed the fourth most fantasy points to power forwards, and I consider him to be more of a power forward than a center. He's got that dual position eligibility, but I think he's more of a power forward. Going back to Indiana. So I think that, he is in play for me on Oklahoma City, and SGA, if he plays, it would be in play. But probably just Roby for Oklahoma City, and then either Highland or Cousins or Jokic, depending on who plays. If SGA plays, for the Thunder.
Let me ask you this: if you play the Joker and he's 12K, how many points? Because the standard has changed. I mean, now really in the industry, everybody sort of agrees it's not 5x to get the value; it's 5x plus 10. 5x plus 10 is the new standard. So what is 5 times 12?
60. So he needs 70.
So if you don't get 70, which will probably make him one of the top 2 or 3 scorers on the night, then that's a bust. Yeah. And it's a game with a 15-point spread with possibly the best player from the other team not playing.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm not buying. I'm just not going to buy in. Now, if he does play, it stays close, and he gets an 80 burger, I move on to tomorrow. But I'm not going to be wishy-washy on this podcast and tell people the best player on every team. If you want, you can listen to some of the other folks. They're going to give you the three, and I'm not trying to be negative against anybody else. You hear a lot of that. Like, I love, the Joker's a great play. SGA is a great play. Oh, okay, I get it. But there's a salary that you have to stay within in these games, and you have to figure out what you're going to do. And can the Joker get 70? Yeah, he could get 70 probably every game if he really wanted to. Is he going to have the opportunity to get 70 here is my question.
Yeah.
So, I'm just not going to do it. I don't believe SGA is going to play. If we get news halfway through the slate that he's going to play, I'll have enough exposure in this next game that I could probably make 3-4 switches and make a few things happen. So I'm not saying eliminate it completely, in your builds and in your planning. But the last thing you want to do is have, if let's say you put them both in, SGA and the Joker, and it gets to 840, and all of a sudden they're both out. Now you're going to be eating salary all over the place, and you're dead. So I get late swaps there. I just don't see the right dynamic in these late games. I don't see that game staying competitive. Yeah. So, for me, I'm probably going to put Trey Mann in there at 5-7 because that's an easy swap because you have Jalen Green the next game is 5-8. You've got, Will Barton at 5-3. You've got like an Ellaby at 4-7. There's lots of opportunities to flop, flop around there if SGA does play. And, then Trey Mann, I'm not going to play at that point. So the thing I'm concerned about with the big men for the Thunder are Favors and Kenrich Williams, who hasn't played in a while, may play. They're questionable. That really screws up, Krejcik, Baisley, Roby, and Sarr. Now you've got 6 guys, grabbing some minutes at the bigs. So it's probably just Trey Mann for me on that side, only if SGA sits. And then on the Denver side, you can always still go because it's cheap with either Barton at 5-3, Gordon at 5-4, or Highland at 5-2. I like Highland better than Morris right now. And I know, they're splitting duties, and that's not a good thing either. But the prices are good enough to have one piece of exposure on that side. But I am looking at a blowout potential here, and that's going to keep me from spending big in this game. Controversial or not, that's my stance.
Yeah, I totally get it. I mean, I wish I would have done that last night with Embiid because I had a feeling that they were going to blow out the Clippers, and I didn't do it. And I wish I had.
Right. A lot of people. Yeah, a lot of people, including me. I'm with you. Yeah. All right, last game. It's 10 o'clock, late night sweat game all by itself. Houston Rockets and the Portland Trailblazers. Houston's favored by 4, 231.5. Nice little total. 117.75 for Houston, 113.75 for the Portland Trailblazers. Injury-wise, it's not just flat out for Garuba and Wall like it's been every single game. And I mentioned it. Garuba's actually now doubtful.
So wow.
I know it. It stinks.
That just my whole lineup right there.
And I'm totally out of kilter here now. I can't focus. I enjoyed that Garuba and Wall. I wasted 5 seconds line every day. It's gone. So Garuba's doubtful, Wall out. For Portland, though, how about this group of out? Hart, Winslow, Bledsoe, Luzada, Nurkic, Simons, and Winslow.
Yeah.
So good luck, Portland. Season ticket holders, I hope you're enjoying G League basketball. Tough. All right, man. Where do you even start on this game? I mean,
this is
plays, I think.
Yeah. I mean, we just had this game last night, so how do we – did they have a makeup game, or was it scheduled to be this way? This is just crazy to me. I don't know if I've ever seen this where you had the exact suit,
they
same
do back-to-backs. Usually there's one day in between. Yeah. But I'm not sure. So do we need to just pull up the box score and decipher if it's going to be exactly the same.
I honestly had that thought, this morning. But, I mean, Chris Dunn, obviously, good value play. I like Watford a little bit. He's 6,100 on FanDuel versus 7,200 on DraftKings, so a lot better play on FanDuel. Jalen Green, as you mentioned, is a good play. Brandon Williams had a terrible game last night with 8.5 DK points. I still like him.
Something, man? He sunk a lot of lineups with that.
Crazy. I still like him though in GPPs. Houston's allowed the most fantasy points to point guard, so I'm going to trust that here and just say it was an off night for him. And in FanDuel, at least 6,100. I think that's a fair enough price that I can go back to him. And then Drew Eubanks. I mean, it's the same guys we liked yesterday for me.
Well, guess what? I'm looking at the box score, and here's why I'm not trusting any Houston Rockets right now. 10 guys, literally 10 guys, played between 19 minutes and 33 seconds and 27 minutes and 35 seconds. Yeah. 27 minutes and 35 seconds was the most anybody played for them in this game. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Green 27, Porter 26, Wood 26, Jayshawn Tate 22, Gordon 21, Şengün 21, Schroeder 23, Kenyon Martin 22, Garrison Matthews 19, Josh Christopher 20. Now, you have to script that out ahead of time and say, we're playing this group of 10 guys equal minutes and just roll with it.
Exactly.
So what does that do to you in DFS?
Yeah, I know. And like I said, I've got 5 guys here from this game, and only one of them is on the Houston side. So that kind of tells it right there.
I mean, I would assume that means they're going to do the same thing tonight.
Yeah, I would think so. But who knows?
Or are they using the reverse and their key guys are going to get the extra minutes tonight? I don't know. They have nothing to play for. They want to give Christopher some run and Şengün and all these guys. I mean, it's such a risk. That's my problem. If you want to take a few shots at the key guys in contests where, you've got multiple entry, I get it because you could pop a big guy or two, but for a cash single entry guy, I just don't see the risk reward aspect. It's too much risk.
Yeah. I mean, Dunn, I feel like he's probably the safest play here. He's been pretty consistent, Chris Dunn.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the Houston side.
On the Houston side, yeah.
I mean, literally not a guy over 26 minutes, and you just don't see that in the NBA. So I'm not going to mess with it. Now, going to Portland, to your point, it's a totally different scenario now. You've got, they played 3 guys off the bench quite a bit, 4 guys actually. But here's the issue though. You have I agree with you. I like Chris Dunn. He played 19 minutes. Yeah. And that's a concern. You can't afford in this day and age in DFS to get a guy with 19 minutes as a key player for you. So that scares me. The guys that I lean towards here, Josh, are Ellaby. He's been getting consistent minutes. Watford has really been getting the most minutes. And, those 2 are my top 2 guys. The 4th 10-day contract for Eubanks, he got 27 minutes. He can be in play. Then it gets a little dicey because you got Keon Johnson, Brandon Williams, Chris Dunn, Greg Brown, Elijah Hughes, Ben McLemore, and even Blevins, all those guys between 17 and 25 minutes. So, you have 2 teams that have given up. So for me, the only guys I could trust here would be Ellaby, Watford, or Eubanks. Not that I'm going to use all 3 of them by any stretch, but where one of them fits from a price standpoint, I may try to make it work. You look at their prices, Eubanks is up to 6.6, Ellaby's only 4.7, but Watford's is 7.2. So it's not like you're stealing any of these guys, Sure.
Yeah.
So I really, for me, man, if I had to build a lineup right now, like we're going to build this 2 brains lineup, it's almost impossible without all this news.
Yeah, I agree.
So I mean, I hate to be like, stay tuned or catch us on Discord. It's not a sales pitch. It's the truth,
Yeah.
So, but the good thing is we're going to build this two brains right now. And if there's a bunch of changes, our man Colin will get that up on Twitter so that, non-members, everybody that's listening will get that lineup for our GPP on FanDuel.
Yep.
I'm going to give you the first pick today because, I don't know if it's because I'm still half out of my wits from driving 21 and a half hours or if this lineup is just that damn tough to build.
All right. I'll go ahead and start with what we were just talking about. I'm going to take Chris Dunn at point guard.
Even though I just told you he played 19 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, dude. It's okay. Stand by your guns.
Duns, yeah.
Your duns. I'm just glad Dallas isn't playing today.
Yeah.
Because we don't want any mispronunciations. I almost swerved off the road.
I got it now.
You would have been the cause of an accident because of the disrespect for Mr. Luka Doncic.
Yeah. I listened carefully last night when they were playing to see if the announcer got it right because I was going to say something to you if he didn't, but he did. He said Doncic. Right. So, yeah.
Absolutely. I do hear some of them mess it up, though. But, Hubie Brown, he's like 90, literally. He's one of the greatest basketball minds in history. He pronounces it wrong. But,
yeah.
When you're like
Giannis,
90, you get a pass.
People say Giannis, and I'm like, no, that's not his name.
Yeah.
So I get it.
All right. I'm going to go Fred VanVleet, 7,800. Too cheap.
All right. So we got 2 point guards.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Markkanen at power forward.
Okay. At power forward, Mr. Markkanen. Let's see here. I'm going to, again, these things are going to change if people are in or out, but I'm going to go ahead and take, it's going to be weird, but I'm going to take Giannis.
Okay.
If he sits, then we will know we need to flip to Middleton.
Are you taking him at small or power forward there?
I want to take him at small so then we can put Middleton in that spot.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I'm going to make a switch. I forgot about somebody that I really like on this slate. I'm going to take Dunn out, which is going to make you happy. But that's not why I'm doing it. I'm going to put Davion Mitchell in there. I like him better.
Okay. Chris Dunn's going to go for a career high tonight. There's no doubt.
That's fine. I'll take my chances with Mitchell getting almost 40 minutes a game lately. So
I'm going to watch just seeing if Mitchell outscores him and Dunn head to head. So we'll see. I like your chances. I like the change. If it matters, I like it a lot. How about we go with $5,500 power forward playing next to Markkanen in my theory of the two bigs for Cleveland, Kevin Love.
Yeah, I like it. That
eliminates my Mobley guy, but that's cool.
I'm gonna take Yeah, I'm gonna take where did he go? Oh, he's not a shooting guard. Never mind. I was going to take Trey Mann, but he's a point guard only.
I know it. It doesn't make much sense.
We need some value. I'm gonna take Connaughton wherever he is.
Okay.
48 shooting guard.
Connaughton shooting guard, 4,800. Am I spelling it wrong? CON.
N.
Got it. Okay. what does that give us? 62.33. All right,
Yeah.
how about again, these things could change, but I'm just going based on gut feel here. I'm going Malcolm Brogdon.
Okay.
6,900. But, we got to make sure he's in. So, we're going to have to go a little cheaper at center, 5,900 for the last two spots.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'll take. Oh, man.
I can take a guy at center if you want.
Yeah, you can go ahead and do that.
Damian Jones.
Okay.
That gives you 6,300 for small forward. Didn't you say you love Baisley tonight?
Roby. I liked Roby.
Oh, Roby. Okay, sorry.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
okay.
you have Baisley, Brooks, Hield, Brissett, Barnes, Porter. There's a lot of good guys.
Yeah. I'm going to go, let's see here. I'm going to take some value a little bit with Franz Wagner at 56.
Okay, that leaves us a lot. That leaves us $700. So stay tuned because we also may be going down from Giannis to Middleton. So if we do that, then we're going to even have more. So then we can go up to a big stud.
Yeah, you can also I know you mentioned you like Boucher. If you wanted to move from Jones to him, you can do that too.
Let's wait until we get the rest of that news.
Okay.
Because if Trent's not out, it squeezes Boucher's rotation minutes, even though it's not the same position. It still squeezes minutes from him.
Right.
All right. So for now, again, this is morning, so stay tuned on. Right. Even if you're not a member, stay tuned on Twitter at DFS Coach Talk. I'm at Joe Sarvati. He is at JP Davis 1982. We have Davion Mitchell, Fred VanVleet, Pat Connaughton, Malcolm Brogdon, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Franz Wagner, Lauri Markkanen, Kevin Love, Damian Jones. What do you think?
I think it's a strong lineup.
I think it is a unique lineup. I think it's definitely got good potential. Plus, we have $700 in our back pocket if we need to do some swapping.
Yeah.
All right, my friend.
If Giannis sits, I think we could really have a really balanced lineup if he sits. Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, because then we can go to Middleton and then a buy up and have really feel good about it for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Appreciate it. And thank you everybody for, the transition and trying to get things up and going. We haven't missed a pod and we're not going to. Yeah. Tomorrow should have a little bit better look. We'll get Dirk and company back and go from there. So stay tuned for our prize picks pod that will be coming up shortly after this one. Thank our presenting sponsor, Prize Picks, and go to prizepicks.com, sign up with the promo code Coach Talk. If you want to jump in with us, it's dfscoachtalk.com. All right, Crash, I think that is it, my friend. Any final words?
No, I just want to, keep it rolling on our Prize Picks plays and get rolling on DFS here. So
I'm with you. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening in. Really appreciate it. And we'll be back again when we look to crush it in DFS NBA.